To begin, we'll first take a look at the history of San Cosme e Damiano. The construction date of the structure shown in these two pictures is unknown. However, it is commonly held that around 309 AD, Emperor Maxentius dedicated it to his late son, Valerius Romulus. The year of dedication is an approximation, as Valerius Romulus died in 309. The dedication came following renovations after fire in 306. This trend of repurposing structures after fire may be familiar, as a similar scenario played out in the history of the Basilica di San Clemente. Prior to honoring the memory of Valerius Romulus, the structures had served as a meeting hall and a temple of Jupiter. It was not until 527 AD that Pope Felix IV converted that meeting hall, which featured an apse, into a church. This church was the first Christian church to be founded in the Imperial Forum. This was symbolic of Christianity's highest degree of importance in Rome. The church was dedicated to Cosme and Damian, who were Eastern martyrs from the 2nd century. They had been brothers who worked as physicians, so the church got the reputation of having healing powers for those who slept within it. This affiliation with martyrdom and miraculous powers is not unique. Other churches, such as the Basilica di San Paolo Fiore le Mura, were dedicated to a martyr. It aligns with the idea behind the relic trade, which was based in attracting religious pilgrims. In the late 8th century, another addition was made to San Cosme e Damiano. During the reign of Pope Hadrian I, the church was restored and a diaconia was added. This was done to care for both the pilgrims coming into Rome and the poor.
Location is a major point when it comes to deciding the importance of a building. A theme that we hit on a lot in class is not just what you build, but where you build it. The Cosme e Damiano is located right in the heart of Rome, in the Roman Forum. It's right next to the Basilica of Constantine and is about 3/4 of the size. As we saw on our visit to the Basilica of Constantine was a massive building, and this by no means is a small church. The modern day entrance to the temple is facing the road that runs along the outside of the Forum. But it could have been accessible through the Temple of Romulus, which this church was built onto the back of. This attachment shows another theme that was present in the course of Rome being a city of layers. Instead of building in another location, they attached the church right onto the back of the temple. By attaching this building on the back of the Temple of Romulus, it connected it to the Forum and eliminated the weird angle that it was constructed in. This attachment also shows the mix of paganism and Christianity, as the Temple of Romulus serving as a pagan worship site attached onto a Christian church. The Cosme was the first church to be built in the Forum, which served as a power statement of the Christians. As Christianity started to take over the city of Rome, we could see the movement of churches from the outer city and into the city of Rome.
When looking at the layout of San Cosme e Damiano, it looks similar to the house Professor Hartnett had us walk into and explore. There is an open courtyard with Roman columns, which was normal for most Roman villas. The main room, when entering the Roman house, can be considered a large reception area, also normal in Roman villas. There are several small rooms in the design of the church as well. They could have been used as storage rooms or for other things the house would require. These small rooms were later converted to chapels within the church. To the left of the courtyard, there are more small rooms that could have been shops for the street, rooms used by the household, or even small homes for other individuals. Connected to our church are the remnants of the Roman temple, the Temple of Jupiter Stator. The temple itself is the portion closest to the Roman Forum. The rectangular hall was used as the seat of the urban prefect. As for the size of the large church, it is actually rather small. However, the layout remains similar to other churches we have seen. The layout of the basilica followed the norms of the Counter-Reformation. This includes a single 4-bay nave, 3 chapels on the left side and 4 on the right. The chapels are centered through large arches. There are fresco panels above each of the arches. The first bay of the nave is the modern entrance and could have possibly been a 4th chapel for the left side. There is a large apse which now actually is quite oversized because of the reduction in height of the 17th century restoration. The apse itself is framed by the triumphal arch, also affected by the restoration. The crypt stairs are located to the left of the apse, and the sacristy is just north of the apse.
Like most every church of its time, The interior of Santi, Cosme, and Damiano is decorated with a variety of artworks that serve to tell stories, exalt saints, martyrs, or popes, and overall express the theological views of early Christians. When you walk in and look up, you see a beautifully ornate, Baroque-styled ceiling. The central piece of art is a 17th century fresco that depicts the two saints after whom this church was named in heaven. Along the sides of the naves are different 17th century frescoes that tell the story of these two martyrs. You can see the one above the rightmost chapel showing that the Cosme and Damiano praying inside of a ring of fire, with an angel looking over them, reminiscent of the fire miracle in the book of Daniel. It appears that the theme of martyrs being engulfed with fire but not being burned is a pretty prevalent one in early Christianity. The fresco to the left appears to be depicting the beheading of one of the brothers, and the fresco to the left of that one shows the body of the martyr being carried off. On the other side of the nave, the frescoes appear to follow a similar structure, showing the judgment, beheading, and death of the other brother, leading to the main apse of the church. The original 6th century apse mosaic is an especially beautiful piece of art. The mosaic depicts the parousia, which is the Greek word for arrival, meaning the second coming of Christ. Featuring the central figure of Jesus standing on red clouds that represent the dawn of the day of judgment, he is also gilded in a golden tunic with a single monogram I visible. This monogram could possibly stand for the word imperator, which was a common title for military generals in the Roman Empire. We see again what we saw many times during our trip, and that is a Romanization of Christianity, portraying central Christian figures as if they were Romans and assigning them Roman titles. Jesus is flanked by St. Paul on his right and St. Peter on his left. The two apostles are introducing the two martyrs after whom this church was named, Cosme and Damiano. The two martyrs are indistinguishable from each other, as the tradition holds that they were identical twin brothers. In their hands they hold the martyrs' crowns. The Apostle Paul also has the same monogram that is present on Jesus' tunic. On the far left in the mosaic is Pope Felix IV, who originally founded the church in 527 AD. In his hands he holds the motto of the church, which he is presenting to Jesus. The painting of Pope Felix IV we see today is not part of the original mosaic, however. Pope Gregory XIII painted over the image of Felix with an image of Gregory the Great in the late 16th century, but the image of Pope Felix IV was reconstructed shortly after, in the 17th century. The swapping of different popes on the mosaic and their presence on the mosaics in general showed the shift in power from the emperor to the papacy after Constantine moved the empire's capital to Constantinople. Popes wanted a direct hand in what was happening around the city, including the construction of churches, as we see here, because they needed to assert their authority. The seven figures stand above a river labeled Iordanes, meaning Jordan. Though this church, Santi, Cosme, and Damiano, is located in the heart of Rome, there is no denying the Byzantine style that was used. Here is a side-by-side of the mosaic we've been analyzing in the apse mosaic located in Basilica of San Vitale, one of the most important examples in early Christianity of Byzantine influence on artwork. You can already begin to see the similarities in style, color, and structure, the details of the figures' faces, their garments, and hand gestures. The mosaic at Santi, Cosme, and Damiano is ripe with Eastern Byzantine influence. Even the character who appears on the far right of the mosaic, Theodore the Martyr, one of the great warrior saints of the Eastern Orthodox Church, is a prominent figure in the painting. The artwork inside Santi, Cosme, and Damiano is an excellent example of Popolaresco, which is the intermediate between the old classical style of depiction. We see an example here of the mosaic in Santa Pudenziana, transforming into a more Byzantine style of representation. This is not an isolated incident of this transformation either, but Santi, Cosme, and Damiano is one of the most important examples in early Christianity of this shift from a more classical style to the Eastern Byzantine style.